Alright, just a quick follow-up video here this morning here. As I record this video, I'm recording this intraday. Market should be open for another 5 hours or so. So market has been open for what, 9:30, 10:30, 2 hours and a half now. So yesterday we talked about the fact that we've lost the micro-term MA right here. You can see on this spider 65-minute chart right there. What we talked about was because this micro-term has not been breached since a week or so, week and a half or so. So breaking below this micro-term MA and the bearish divergence formation, that could be a trigger for further downside, unless of course if this is going to be some sort of a micro-term trap, where if we get back up and reclaims that micro-term. So as you can see, we gapped up above the micro-term, and you can see on the first and second hour that micro-term is now acting as support again. Keep in mind, this micro-term MA has been acting as support about a week and a half or so. Even on this sideways, a little slight downturn here, micro-term was right there to capture it, got back up. Yesterday we broken below it, but we gapped right above it. And you can see it's just been grinding above that micro-term. As long as we stay above this micro-term and this up gap from this morning, right? This up gap remains open. We do want to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers in the micro-term. So micro-term sentiment shifts back to bullish, unless of course there's going to be some kind of shenanigan where this micro-term gets breached to the downside towards the end of the day, or like we see a gap down tomorrow morning, and then all of a sudden we see this like island up down gap. And again, we don't know yet as of today, and none of us can see the future, what's going to happen. So we gotta work with what we see currently. What we see currently is we're back up with the micro-term. We're holding that up gap. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do with this bearish divergence? Well, this market is so bullish, because you can see every bearish divergence been played out in some format. Maybe it's just 2 hours of downturn, or maybe 3 days downturn, maybe just 2 days of downturn. It played out in some format. But right now, it looks like, just looking at this oscillator here, now it does have that bearish divergence formation. We got lower high on that oscillator, but it looks like it's really, look at the angle of this thing, right? You see that angle of that, you see it comes down, comes down, it comes down. You see that angle to the downside angle. This is really, we're like really moving sideways. So what it looks like, especially with today's price action, instead of this thing like rolling over, we're like moving, floating, elevated on the top of his band, and like moving sideways sort of sentiment here. Looks like that, and bulls are trying to correct their time, maybe, you know, have that oscillator cross back up, and maybe strategies to kind of have that oscillator, you know, oscillate back and forth at the top of his band. I don't know if you guys remember, this has happened last year, I believe. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. When it happens, that oscillator can stay sideways at the top of his band. Who knows? Last time, do you guys remember when I analyzed it? I don't know exactly when it was. I know it was sometime 2023. It was like entire like 2 weeks, or maybe it was an entire month. 2 weeks or so, that oscillator just stayed at the top of its band. It never came back down to the bottom, and it will just oscillate back and forth at the top of its band, and the market will just keep grinding higher. We'll do like these little you know, bursts of move to the upside, and then we'll have a little, you know, pullback, and then but it will get brought back. So we're sort of in that melt up, like extremely bullish FOMO YOLO, like, you know what I'm saying, is that sort of a public people who did not go long on 2022 or 2023 lows, not even, you know, just recent decline in 2023 October lows. They're all waiting. Everybody's just waiting for steeper pullbacks. It's not giving it to them. So they're just like, you know what, maybe let me just go long here. And that's what it seemed like. So any little shallow decline, it seems to be just getting a bottom. Quickly, I'll cover QQQ here as well. The Qs, Nasdaq 100 also do have that bearish divergence formation, very similar to looking here, but look at that, we are back above it, the micro. And yesterday though, you can see the micro-term was never breached on Qs, so actually the sentiment on Qs was much more bullish And then Spider, we got below the micro-term MA, but yes, you can see that micro-term MA was never breached. So actually on the Qs as of last night, the benefit of the doubt goes to buyers in the micro-term, because as you can see, it stays above that micro-term. So in sort of same scenario here, we do have the bearish divergence again. This bearish divergence could still play out. That's why we kind of have to watch out for it, which I'm gonna give you guys an update on this quickly. Semiconductor. Same thing here on semiconductor, that micro term was never breached. Even yesterday, similar to the NASDAQ 100, so you see that that's micro term, that's micro term, that's micro term. Once the micro term was reclaimed, we gapped up, came down, micro term retest, goes straight up, comes down, retest a micro term, goes straight up and comes down. We're just going back up again. So it's been in this sort of a micro term retest a couple times. And then we see that burst of move to the upside, and we do. Last time when we saw that bearish divergence here, you can see right there that resulted in just looks like 1 or 2 days of downturn. That's it, and then we just got right back up. That completely nullified it. Once when we got above it right here, you see that right there, it nullified that bearish divergence. You see there was there, and there's a midterm and short term double support. Boom, right. So this is a level where it's extremely difficult to try to pinpoint where the top is gonna be. We must continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. One last one, I wanna quickly give you guys an update on Tesla. Tesla, after the earnings, we're down about 12% this morning. So Tesla longs are really feeling that pain. They really want to hope for this stock to really thrive and go to the moon like it has done in the past. But Tesla really made a huge move last 4 years or so, and so maybe we need some steep correction, or and then maybe the market needs to sort of what I mean, because we're in such a high valuation in Tesla, and my market probably needs to sort of shake people out. And then I think there's gonna be a viable, as far as if you're looking for some of these value investing candidates, there might be a sort of a level where it could potentially viable. But right now, as you can see, just looking at 65-minute chart here, we do have a consistent lower highs here and lower lows. That's the thing about it. Today's price action right here, we made a lower low here with this big down gap, and you can see how many down gaps that we're working with here. We got one down gap, we got 2, 3, 4 big earnings down gaps. So all these down gaps, all the moving averages, and we have lower highs and lower lows. And look at this oscillator, you can see it at the bottom of its band, right? You see that it does never reach the top of its band. That's when we know this is in a downtrend. Obviously, it needs to kind of break that curse if the bulls want to see any sort of pop up with all these down gaps there, especially with this earning down gap. It's gonna be a while before Tesla can turn things around. I'm gonna give it at least a month to 3 months to, just to fill this big earnings down gap. It's gonna take months. It's gonna take months, and then after that, it's gonna have some more consolidation, maybe a pullback, maybe a base. It's gonna take a while. I wouldn't expect to see Tesla to just go vertical and just V-shape higher. That's probably not what's gonna happen, especially if the market is very extended. The market has been bullish and Tesla has been coming down. That's a very bearish sentiment there. Can you imagine if the entire market start coming down? If we see any kind of steep correction, what's gonna happen to Tesla? But I think this is a very, very difficult level for Tesla longs. If you tell yourself that I'm gonna stick with the Tesla for the next like 5 years, you're that guy, 5-10 years, then I think holding through it and possibly accumulate more when it gets more on sale. But at least in like the midterm, short to midterm, it's very sketchy and hectic environment.